With war rolling at the start, we here to bring the truth. Jar open this podcast, we breaking through the fake news. They try to silence us, but we will be subdued. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with the bass Christian takes. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up, we won't be swayed. Jar open this podcast, where the truth is laid. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas up, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Pulling out the corruption with no inhibition. Jar open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall in a world full of deceit. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street. Keeping it real, never missing a beat. Jar open this podcast, where the truth meets the heat. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas up, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. Jar open this podcast, where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling Atlas up, fearless in our release. Jar open this podcast, where the lies will decrease.
All right. So, having a broadcast, as you can tell by the title. I'm Tyler, go by Worrell. All that good stuff. You can find me over at America First TV here on YouTube. I didn't stream this one too, and I'm having camera issues. I got into this thing recently where I gotta restart my computer every time I go live, and I was so rushed to get this started by 2:30 my time that I didn't think to restart my computer until I had everything all loaded up and all that stuff. So I apologize. Hopefully my audio at least will continue if the camera cuts out, but it's been happening like multiple times just in that little intro. But yeah, I'm right there with you, TNT. It's a sock. That's pretty funny. Apologize for being late. I was rushing, man. We were trying to get it done on short notice.
Yep.
All this news coming out here from just breaking, basically, as it relates to Matt Gaetz withdrawing his name from AG consideration. My initial thought, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking too, was a couple things. First of all, what happens to his current seat? And from what I understand, basically he was just elected. So, we know that he withdrew immediately from his House seat, right? And from what I understand, he will be able to assume that position because he was just elected. It's just the interim from now till then, his seat will be empty, essentially, from the way I understand it, just off rip. But the second part that I think could be a factor here was something that we talked about the other day when we were ranking Trump's cabinet appointments or giving them all grades on a former show. That this could be a part of Trump's 4D chess move, maybe even 5D, as it relates to replacing Marco Rubio's Senate seat. Because we were kind of wondering why. Oh, there it goes. We were kind of wondering why Trump would appoint Marco Rubio. And we kind of thought maybe this was to get him to give up his Senate seat. He can fill it with somebody better and then fire Marco Rubio. And so hopefully that's part of the equation. We don't know. But what are your thoughts before I get into this article? I'm going to read you guys this article here from the Daily Wire in a second.
I hate it. I absolutely despise it. As somebody, and I laid this out too, I even got a little bit of pushback from Donnie earlier. We had a bit of an exchange on X just leading up into this too. Some of the first things I'll say, my honest thoughts on this. First thing would be, I don't understand even what the point was of floating recess appointments if you weren't going to use them.
Right.
Recess appointments would have allowed us to install these nominations without having to have Congress there to actually do any of the confirmations. And even outside of that, before this, there was even all the talk from, I believe it was on Tim Pool's show, where they talked about how you could continually find these loopholes. I think it was the episode with Myron Gaines, where you could continue to appoint him as acting AG, and that would also be another workaround for him to be the attorney general. My second thought too is a development like this at this hour, seemingly kind of out of nowhere and kind of shorthanded too, really short timeline for him to be nominated and then have this happen, also makes me think, in light of getting the actual transcripts of his Venmo payments to the allegations of him having paid for our prostitution, also lends a bit more credibility to those arguments as well. Not to say that anything's concrete, but this is a development you would expect if there was to be something more concrete in there. Harrison Smith had a funny tweet where he was like, "Guys, how hard is it to not stick our genitalia into women? And when we're wanting to pursue these kinds of politics and these positions, you'd especially for someone who's going to hold office in high regard." And I guess maybe the third take I'd have from this too, something that even Owen Schroyer and Jake Shields have pointed out, was this was the only nominee or nomination from Trump's team so far that does not have a direct tie to AIPAC. And again, I know people probably hate hearing that and how much it's involved, but I think far too often there's this too much happens to be a coincidence. So I'm very, very disappointed to hear what's going on and to see what's happening here, especially because he was my favorite pick going into this too. In regards to what you had said, though, as well, one thing I wanted to clear up that I saw just before he went live was the fact that he's only resigned from the 118th Congress. Matt Gaetz was actually also elected to the 119th Congress as well. So I think even if he doesn't go and fill Rubio's Senate seat, there's a chance that he maintains his position in the 119th Congress as well.
Yeah.
But if he disappears off into the sunset and we don't see him, this could have been the 40 chess move to ensure that Matt Gaetz doesn't go down and give a bunch of bad optics to the Trump team if those allegations are true.
Right. And I put it on screen. Of course, my camera's going to just keep going out. So I'm going to quit addressing it. If I go in and out, I go in and out. But I saw that TNT Cycles posted here, Biden DOJ would have gone hard if there were any truth to the allegations. 100% agree with that. We know how the Democratic Party has been attacking everyone on the right, and they ended that Biden DOJ investigation in 2023, which is why the View host Sunny Hostin recently was forced by their legal team to retract her statement about Matt Gaetz laying with young ones and stuff like that, which let's just be real, not excusing it, but the person was 17 at the time, so it's not like I'm not it's just, we'll just say it as fact because it's a big deal regardless. But they try to make everything seem like, it was way worse, which I don't know if there's really even scales to it, to be honest, now that I say it out loud. it's all, what he was alleged to have done. And, I've heard a little bit in my group chat about, I got a couple, one really hardcore Democrat that has drank the Kool-Aid. And he just has the TDS, liberal hive mind virus, to the max. So I get like an inside scoop to how they're thinking just by talking to my group chat with my hunting buddies, my fantasy football guys. But he was really happy about it, and he just automatically assumes that there's some type of guilt to the allegations. And of course, in the United States, we're innocent until proven guilty. The Biden DOJ didn't pursue the charges, so it seems like it's all on the up and up essentially. But I have no problem saying that if it's not on the up and up, press charges and hold him accountable to the full extent of the law. As much as I like Matt Gaetz, as far as what he's done as a leader for the country, none of that goodness makes up for the bad that he would be accused of potentially, which I don't think was the actual case of what he did from the past. From what I understand too, one of the main accusers is somebody that's on the hook for doing some of these things himself and essentially kind of scrambling to try to crabs in the pot or crabs in the bucket type of thing, just trying to drag everybody down with them and keep them in the bucket.
Well, I mean, there's a point to be made even with that too. Even if it's not the minor allegation, say that's the one that's like it's just garbage and the one that's being trudged up for no reason. Can we just like as senators and politicians at these levels, congressmen as well, can we maybe make a vow to not be involved in any kind of prostitution or not putting your parts into females who would be insane to some degree, who could maybe drag you down with these allegations.
Bill
Probably a good
Clinton.
reason why. Yeah, things like this, especially because we do operate in the world where you're guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate part is that the world will look at this as a kind of statement about the fact that Matt Gaetz is some level of guilty to what was being tried to him. And so the
Yeah.
step down doesn't aid any of his personal reputation at all.
Yeah. And now that you say that, I think about it, with the potential Trump 4D move, on the horizon, maybe, and this is just completely hypothetical, but maybe there is some validity to the accusations. Well, a couple things. Maybe there is some validity to the accusations, and they're like, how can we handle this? Just got reelected. What can we do? How can we use it to our best benefit, knowing what's going to come out? The thing about it is, from what I understand, the information from the 2023 DOJ investigation has already been hacked. It's already in somebody's hands. So it's just a click of a button away from becoming public as it is. I could be wrong, but I believe that's the case. And I have no doubt in my mind that the information from this recent investigation, the ethics, I can't remember what it's actually called. Is it the
Ethics report, ethics committee, or
report?
ethics report is what it would be.
It's going to come out too, and that's the point that I had to make to my friend on my group chat. Was like, bro, like him backing out is not going to save the public from knowing the information about him. So there's really, in my mind, no reason for him to back out unless he just absolutely has to. Hey, what's up, Donnie?
Yeah, what's up, brother?
So there's really no reason for him to back out due to the allegations, because like I was saying, in my opinion, they're going to come out one way or the other, even if he isn't the nominee. So I don't know. Let's look at this article here real quick from the Daily Wire. Just read through some of the breaking news here. Matt Gaetz announced on Thursday. Oh, let me move my camera out of the way so I can actually see my screen. Sorry about that. And scrambling, man. Scrambling.
I feel it.
Busy day over here. I'm just sitting in the office filming, and I have some good ones on tap though. I just made an excellent one from that conversation between Milo and Tim Pool last night. It was really entertaining and intriguing. But Rep. Matt Gaetz announced on Thursday that he is withdrawing his name from consideration for Attorney General after being tapped by President-elect Donald Trump to serve in the position. Gaetz said that his decision came after meeting with senators on Capitol Hill on Wednesday. He said that it was clear that my confirmation was unfairly being a distraction from the critical work of the Trump-Vance transition. Gaetz's withdrawal comes as multiple senators expressed concern over his confirmation, and the House Ethics Committee weighed releasing a report on alleged sexual misconduct. Goodness, I can't read. I'm blaming it on the fact that I knew my camera went out, and so it was in the back of my head. Quote, I had excellent meetings with senators yesterday. I appreciate their thoughtful feedback and the incredible support of so many. While the momentum was strong, it was clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump-Vance transition. There is no time to waste on a needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I will be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General. Trump's DOJ must be in place and ready on day one, Gaetz wrote. So that's the only thing that makes sense to me, that it's important that it'll be ready on day one. But, I had big plans with this, but let me finish this next quote real quick. I remain fully committed to see that Donald J. Trump is in the most is not in. Okay, sorry. I'm just going to start that over. I remain fully committed to see that Donald J. Trump is the most successful president in history, and I will forever be honored that President Trump nominated me to lead the Department of Justice, and I'm certain he will save America. And you can see this post here that he put on X. I had excellent meetings with senators yesterday. I appreciate their thoughtful feedback and the incredible support of so many. While the momentum was strong, it is clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction and critical. Okay, so we already read that. But no, sorry. Clicking the wrong
Trying to
buttons.
get that camera.
I'm clicking the wrong buttons, dang it. But I had plans for this. I had big plans. I wanted to I honestly I wanted the people who, the Republicans particularly, because I expect the Democrats to all vote against it because they always vote in lockstep with each other, which is something that the Republicans need to learn how to do. And in that light, there's going to be people that weren't so keen on confirming Matt Gaetz to be the AG. And I wanted those people to make it public that they weren't supporting Matt Gaetz by either confirming him or not, right? When they vote against him, that is a signal of who needs to be primaried. And I was looking forward to having a list of people that I could constantly mention on the channel by saying, we're going to primary these people. Spend the next couple of years, if they're up for midterms in 2 years and all that stuff, getting them primary. Essentially, stand with Donald Trump these next 4 years. It's a pivotal and critical 4 years for the future of our country.
Yeah, I wanted to add, this is probably less than an hour old. I have it showed on my screen. This is from the leading report. So Matt Gaetz reportedly did not have the support of 4 Republican senators, and it would be Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, John Curtis, and Susan Collins. And this goes alongside with the fact that what everybody was expecting, when we were watching the Senate Majority Leader be, I guess, not elected, but chosen rather, by his peers, that we would be getting a Senate that would be vastly opposed to the Trump agenda. And what is up, Jada? See in the chat as well. So we already have 4 that are named. I'm sure there's more than this as well who were unwilling. Obviously, all the Democrats would be unwilling to put Matt Gaetz in there too. But it goes back to one of my original points, which was I guess I really don't understand why we would even have floated these recess appointments, and what the downside to them is the optics, right? The downside is if you do these recess appointments, it opens up this argument that, oh yeah, we have a fascist in the office, yada yada. And so my thought process with that, following the news with what we just had with the nuclear war that we covered yesterday, is the fact that, the deep state is, with the lame duck presidency, is willing to literally pull the pin on humanity and force us into what could be the dark ages by making sure this war gets further along. And what seemingly, to me at least, is the Trump team, Trump administration, Republicans at large, still worried about how things may look. And so I think that's just it's a lack of understanding the kind of, I guess, timeline we're currently in. I could care less, what people may think if he were to dismiss Congress and be like, nope, we're nominating all of these people, because surely the base would be glad for it. You would have moderates and you'd have Democrats who would be kind of opposed to it just by the way it looks, and fascism, literally Hitler. But I think in terms of what he would have been able to accomplish compared to the second man up, it's just very disappointing. And to me, it's reminiscent of the 2016, red tape, being hands tied behind your back, Trump not being able to do anything, bad hires.
Right.
And so I really am just not ready to live through that a second time, especially when we have so much at stake for what is currently being threatened in this country, here domestically and overseas.
Yeah, I agree. It actually does kind of give you that reminiscent feeling that the Republican Party, even though Trump has the majority in both the House and the Senate, might not be so cooperative as we thought they were going to be, at least off rip. It's definitely. I definitely still trust who Trump is going to appoint, because that's why we elected him. But this camera is distracting me.
You good.
But I really feel like Matt Gaetz was the guy, because it's kind of contrary to what he says in this article where he let me see, the momentum was strong.
No, he's basically saying he doesn't want to be a distraction.
Oh,
right?
yeah, he doesn't want to be
That's
right. That's right. And that kind of sends up a red flag to me, that he didn't want to be a distraction, because he was very clearly a distraction when it came to removing Kevin McCarthy from the House Speaker's seat. You know what I mean? And that was the boldness that I was looking forward to seeing in leadership now. And it makes me wonder if the Republicans that are apparently there was 4 there that are looking to oppose him are just and maybe even more, probably everybody on the Democratic Party. Um, they're
Easily.
they're scared for themselves, kind of, because they always project how they would treat their political opponents. We've seen it, come down against even Matt Gaetz, Donald Trump, a lot of these folks lately. So they're scared. They project that they'll be treated the same way that they treated other people, and at the same time, that their donors are scared. Maybe there's some people, some anonymous donors behind the scenes that are a bit more concerned about Matt Gaetz coming after them, essentially, or in discovery of something, finding out about them, and then leads to the next step, and so on and so forth, and it creates a snowball effect. So
Well,
I
think
don't
Sock
know.
made a good point. They already call him all of these things, right? Like he already is
Yeah,
literally the worst thing that could have happened.
yeah.
So to
So
me, it's just
I
like
don't like how
this.
he listed that.
Well, yeah, and you know, you don't want to be a distraction. We're like, what's going to overtake the news cycle for the next few days? I mean, this is now going to be a distraction. This actually, in my opinion, honestly, kind of is derisive towards all the momentum that they just built up, because you even have DC Drano, which I might have some of these pulled up. Hopefully, I do. Is that he's saying like none of this makes sense, right? So this is DC
Yeah,
Drano, right? One of the top like Trump supporters. He's been there banging the drum for him, and even now you have him posting things along the lines of like, I don't understand what's happening. I'll pull up the tweet in particular. Let me go actually see if I can find it here. Because the way he words it is pretty spot on to the way that I feel, because it just doesn't make sense. Like something seems to be fishy or off here. And hopefully I can find it in my bookmarks. So
okay,
apologize
while
for
you're
the
searching for
QR
that, I'll just
first
read
one.
through some of these comments. Terrence Tate, I believe you might be new to the channel. Appreciate you for stopping in and joining the conversation. But he said, this is absolute cowardice. I wonder how they got to him. Godseed, the same thing. I believe this might be your first time here as well. Appreciate you being here. Guys, make sure you hit those like buttons. Consider subscribing to the channels, all that type of good stuff as well. But he said, we need to go full gloves off and win the war on woke, which is 100% how I agree. I've been actually endorsing the concept of showing up to Thanksgiving wearing full MAGA gear. Get yourself an America First shirt and, have the conversation with your woke family members. A lot of people say it's going to be awkward and all that stuff, but you know what? They believe a bunch of lies. So correct their lies with truth. And if they decide to leave, that's more mashed potatoes and turkey for you. And
Very
so
true.
I just actually filmed a video that I think would be good for people to keep in their back pocket as well. It's not coming out I think it's going to come out on Saturday, but it's the conversation between Milo, and it's actually a pretty heated debate between Milo and Timcast employee Elad over the foundation of our country and how it's founded on Christian roots, essentially. And then I finished it up at the end with a nice little 5-minute long clip of Charlie Kirk breaking down the same thing. And so it's just one of those ones where it's useful information for folks, because one of the main arguments against the left or from the left is that this country wasn't founded in Christian values. I don't know where you Christian nationalists are coming from, blah, 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 blah. And you can refer to this and maybe learn a couple of things. I learned a lot from it, and it was highly entertaining at the same time. JB said, I trust Trump's choices. Enough said. If they didn't like his picks, then I like them even more. It's very telling. True that. Godseed said, he followed up and said, you're either an American U.S. patriot and part of the solution, or a regular American hating commie, and there is no in between. I'm with you on that one as well. Terrence Tate followed his up and said he definitely won't be as outspoken as he normally was. Someone spooked him. And that sucks. I guess a lot of that's remains to be seen, but yeah, that is unfortunate. And then we got NFL Hall of Famer Jerry Rice in here. I told you guys Matt Gaetz is part of the swamp. Trump pick him to expose him. That could be the case. Regardless, I'm trusting Trump right now, and he's our guy. So if that's the 4D chess move, was to expose Matt Gaetz and get him out, then that could be a potential possibility as well. I would lean more towards, and I'm just hoping that it's more towards the possible 4D chess move that we mentioned before, that with Marco Rubio being assigned into the cabinet, that there was a potential 4D chess move to have him his position replaced in the Senate, and then go and fire Marco Rubio and basically just remove him from the political landscape legally, which could be interesting. Saying that, for instance, if Matt Gaetz is on the up and up, and Ron DeSantis decides to nominate Matt Gaetz for that Senate seat, I believe is how that process goes. Or if Matt Gaetz, just like Atlas said, continues to be a part of the, what was it, 119th Congress, because he was recently
Yeah.
elected. And so
Yeah.
that term hasn't started. He just won the election. So we know he resigned, but that was from the 118th. So there's just a couple months of empty seat basically right there. And
Yeah,
so,
because right now he still would be considered congressman-elect. Even if he did step down from his position currently, he still is elected to the next coming Congress. Obviously, I think everybody would prefer he'd be in a higher position, which would be with this AG. Senate's
right.
still better. There's been a few names already floated out that would be replacements for the AG nomination, one of them being Ken Paxton. He's the current AG who's in Texas. The other one is actually Andrew Bailey, which we even talked a bit here as well. I believe there's a couple people in chat that are currently from Missouri who know a bit more about Andrew Bailey. Andrew Bailey is the one that was also suing the Biden administration over a lot of the voting stuff. And
Yeah.
he was the one who was not elected. He came in through appointment or through
Yes.
some kind of like non-normal means of getting in there.
Well,
I would
from what
actually
I
prefer him to
understand,
come in.
oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry, I wouldn't mind him coming in either, because I really like everything that I've seen from this guy. He was, to your point, he was challenging Letitia James's case against Donald Trump, where they put all the gag orders on him during his campaign, which was preventing Donald Trump from speaking to the people. It was a challenge. It went up to the Supreme Court, but it was basically saying you're infringing on all of Missourians, because that's who he represents. Right of free speech, their First Amendment rights to hear Donald Trump, as well as Donald Trump's First Amendment speech, to say the things that he needs to say on the campaign trail. So I really like Andrew Bailey. He's a good follow on X. Kind of just came out of nowhere. Like you said, he wasn't elected. I believe he was appointed. And I think that it was an appointment. The way that he was appointed was a kind of a remnant, because Missouri switched from blue to red whenever he was appointed at that time. And it was kind of a remnant of how the Democrats had set it up in Missouri for it to be structured or whatever, set up the structure. And so it ended up working against him. It was kind of a double-edged sword that ended up working against the Democrats when it came to him being put in position, which I do believe he also won his reelection here in this last election here, in 2024.
Yeah. I guess one of the things too that I'm thinking about it is I don't want to play by these rules anymore. I think a lot of people are just pointing out the corruption and like maybe this is a bend to the swamp. This is a time where I think we can all sit here and agree that we've watched for how many years now the DOJ and every single means of our government be weaponized against one side of the political aisle. And I think that when we have a chance to do things that can absolutely stomp out the other side from ever attempting to do these things again, put all these people in jail who abused their political power, put all these people who blatantly committed things, whether they were means of sedition or some go as far as treason, I think we have to take these chances. I think this has gone far too long. I don't want to have to deal with some kind of half-baked kind of presidency moving forward in 2028. This is something where I think now that we have the chance, we won the supermajority, right? We got the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Now would be the time to do things that you may be unpopular in the short term, but would definitely be beneficial for everything in the long term. And as we said before, Trump's not winning another term, right? This is his last term. He won't be president after he serves this term. So go out with a bang. Do everything in your absolute power to destroy every apparatus and apparatchik that's been built in the meantime by the Democratic establishment, by the deep state, and do as much as you can to just like to scope it out. I look at this as a chance that we can finally maybe be course correct for longer than just a 4-year period before it all inevitably becomes more corrupt over a good period of time.
I hope.
And I think there's a lot of people, and I say this too, and I'm probably in the minority here. I'm someone who was a bit timid on giving my support to Trump, even leading up to this election, on a lot of different means, especially from Christian aspects as well. The lack of stance on abortion and so on and so forth. And I think that something like this immediately loses a lot of the dissident right who kind of, you know, reluctantly went and voted for Trump this time, but just knowing that the dichotomy that's presented to them is that you can't vote for Kamala, dude. That's awful. Let alone she's a woman too. And so when I'm looking at it out, I wish we were getting a bit more of these kind of like visionary ideals, like getting like these dreamer kind of aspects. But this kind of just makes me feel like we're playing by the same rules, right? We're sitting at this table where in Yosakia they wanted to pack the courts. We're sitting at this table and we're trying to play it on the chessboard, but the Dems keep getting up, flipping the table. They say they have 40 pieces on the board. And it's like, you can't play a game with these people. You
Right.
got to just get them off the board, put them in jail and say, hey, we will never tolerate this stuff again. If you want to play by the rules, play by them. But these people turn the Constitution into a piece of toilet paper. And we're like, well, and it's like, I'm kind of tired of that. I want to move on to the next step.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wanted to go back here to Corey Davis asked the question: do you think DeSantis is getting close? Do you think since DeSantis is getting close to the end of his term, Gaetz will run for governor of Florida? And I believe that's something that Matt Gaetz has actually floated out there before. I think it was on a Timcast episode months ago. Maybe it was the last time he was on there. And as a Florida citizen, pending, some crazy news coming out about Matt Gaetz, which I've had his back this whole time, and I'm going to until, otherwise, as far as proof or whatever comes out, if there is any, I would vote for him. I would be up for that because we need a strong Republican governor to follow up Ron DeSantis. He'll be up in the midterms. And the only other name that I've really heard so far to replace DeSantis was actually his wife, which I think she's more anti-woke than he is. So I would actually go for that, but Matt Gaetz is the only other person that I've even heard maybe possibly mention, which when I heard that, my initial thought was too, we need him in the House. That's more important. People usually will go from the governor's seat to a Senate seat or a House seat, like Rick Scott. He was the governor before DeSantis, and they don't typically go the other way. But I guess if he can't, for some reason, be a part of the 119th, and it's not due to the allegations, then I would 100% vote for him, and I think he'd probably be the next best person to do that job. But you never know. Maybe they got something on him and threatened him and just scared the crap out of him or something, and he's just like, no. I also wonder if this appointment, even though it didn't force these rhinos to put their name on a vote against him, if it exposed enough of them just by rattling their cage, essentially, to for Donald Trump to kind of get a grasp on who's going to be the big issue, which individuals are going to be the problems when it comes to getting cooperation, and then maybe you can focus on them going forward, and still with Matt Gaetz backing out now, get that AG in position in time to be effective from day one.
Can only really hope so. I think I think Donnie does make a good point that we were going into back and forth earlier. A lot of this, you got to give it some time. Still a lot to be decided. A lot of nominations have been picked, but nobody's been confirmed outside like the Doge department, right? Like there's no confirmation process for that as well, which if people aren't aware, they're actually planning on doing a podcast, Vivek and Elon. They're going to be doing like a podcast every week, I believe, to talk about what they're cutting out from the government that week. So I'm sure that'll be pretty funny to listen into and hear what kind of nonsense they found out or discovered, and they'll be getting rid of.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. I was considering making a video about it if I can get enough content to do that. I wanted to dig into it a little bit more. I see Bobcat there in chat. What's up, dude? And then TNT Cycles asked, who's the next? Who is taking McConnell's seat? Didn't he resign? I heard that he did, But he might be one that's up on the midterm. He might still be in for another 2 years. That's something I'd have to look deeper into. Or maybe you guys might be able to Google it for me and let me know.
I don't know if he's going to make it 2 more years.
Right. I mean, he looked like he was on his way out, like out a while back when he was freezing up like he was. But okay, midterms. Thanks, Jamie. So I know we have some other things in here. What did Liz Wheeler have to say about it? I've been liking her stuff lately.
Yeah, she kind of broke down the 3 different options of what she thought. Let me just share this one. I got it right here.
Okay, you pulled it up.
Yeah, just saying essentially, things you've kind of went through. But the GOP Senate cartel was truly willing to torpedo him, which is probably the easy kind of look in. If you want to take everything, as we have come to know it. Second thing is she's saying, there may be more of the ethics report than we've seen, maybe even more damning. And I would like to say with this point too, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago that the actual transcript from the Venmo transactions from Matt Gaetz was released. So it was confirmed that he did actually make payments via Venmo to women. Now I don't know, like from that you can conclude that for what purpose. A lot of the descriptions on the Venmo payment said things like just because, a little extra for you. Um, so it's really hard to even take that to the. I mean, it's what is that called? Circumstantial evidence, right? There's payment
Right.
that was made, but can determine what these were for? With the
Right,
numerous
because
allegations.
I mean, I send money on Venmo, and everybody send. Well, I guess not everybody, but a lot of people send money on Venmo. It's really hard to prove what it's really for. I mean, I know there's a little notes section, but
Yeah,
that's not concrete evidence of anything, in my opinion. And it's just ironically the people that are coming after him are the same people that excused uh, old Bill Clinton for cheating on his wife in the White House in the Oval Office. You know what I mean? So um, it's always just going against their opponent.
yeah. And her third point being that he never intended him for him to be the AG. Was just giving him an off ramp from Congress. Now, I think that one could even go both ways, right? Like, say that they have this meeting and they're like, hey, this ethics report, like, you're not going to make it. And if we try to confirm someone who has this much amount of evidence against you, your presidency is going to have a really hard time. So it could go that direction. It also could go the direction of maybe Matt Gaetz just wanted out and wanted to move into some entirely different thing that's outside of Congress. And this, like we talked about with Rubio, you get moved out of Congress and then you get fired. Well, now
Yeah.
you're done. You don't have to serve a term anymore. Like you're out. It's like an easy way out. That is actually hilarious from Stock. I also laughed at Donnie's comment there. Pretty
Yeah.
sure McConnell died live on TV a few years ago. And we
We
didn't
both
cover it,
did.
but this is actually the Trump statement. He put a truth out today
Oh yeah, thanks for
about
doing that.
this.
I meant to send you that. That was the one thing that popped up in my notifications.
Yeah, this is from Caroline Levet, who I literally have no idea who that is, so forgive me. But the truth says, I greatly appreciate the recent efforts of Matt Gaetz in seeking approval to be Attorney General. He was doing very well, but at the same time, did not want to be a distraction for the administration, for which he has much respect. Matt has a wonderful future, and I look forward to watching all of the great things he will do. So, with that being said, I lean towards not really knowing what is going on because I don't think Trump would have added the wonderful future aspect if he would have known on the back end that maybe something was going to come out that would be more damning regarding the allegations. So it makes me very curious as to what this reasoning was, possibly just a way to be like, this was the overreach, the art of the deal. This was me asking for like the most offensive person that exists in Congress. That way any other pick seems reasonable by comparison.
Yeah, that does lend to Donald Trump's hopefully an insider when it comes to this type of information and knowing Matt Gaetz and stuff like that. So the vote of confidence hopefully speaks well for the future of these allegations and stuff like that. Let's see here. Saw put this one on screen. It's a post from Wall Street Mav. This is very disappointing. Matt Gaetz would have been amazing as Attorney General. Unfortunately, he has already resigned his House seat in the House. We need to get Governor DeSantis to appoint Matt Gaetz to the empty U.S. Senate seat being vacated by Marco Rubio. We need Senator Matt Gaetz. And that's just more people kind of reiterating the concept of the 40 chess move that, might be a precursor to what we can expect from the Trump White House. And now we can look forward to who his new appointment might be. And I feel like, which is speculation, but I feel like if Trump has that pick already kind of locked and loaded, and we find out by the end of the day or even tomorrow that lends more credibility to the fact that this might be that chess move where he already knew who he's really going to try to appoint.
Well, I just shared another tweet from 10 minutes ago from Orrin McIntyre. This is somebody who also is what you would consider more of the dissident, right? Someone who's definitely not Republican aligned. He guys kind of falls more into the Andrew Torba, more Christian, hard-headed right that kind of exists outside the Republican realm. But he says, float a pick like Gaetz is the first major power play of your admin unless you're committed to pushing him through. So 2 possibilities. Either Gaetz was a ploy, like we talked about the art of the deal, or 2, Trump learned nothing and blundered in again. If it's the second, then you can kiss deportations goodbye. And again, I think that follows the rhetoric of not learning from the previous administration, the previous term, forgive me, and more so caring about what the New York Times is going to say about you. Because I think, as Donnie Brooke put it to me really well some time back, which is you don't even have to count on Trump doing the right thing. You can count on Trump doing what will make him be loved, because he is a man who is very, whether for better or worse, concerned about his ego, right? And so he's someone who wants to be loved, truly loved, right? He's someone who wants to be known for doing things that people will appreciate him for. So if he sees that the majority of individuals will appreciate him for doing such thing, he'll do it, whether that aligns with actual Republican values or not, is irrelevant to him. And again, I think people got to remember this is also a what would 20 years ago would be a moderate Democrat from New York, running in the Republican Party. And it sucks. Is what if they're planning on Gaetz being a special prosecutor to go after corruption? I would appreciate that too. Gaetz is a lawyer, although he's never actually adjudicated on any kind of cases, never actually prosecuted on any cases. I think that would be great. I think he's somebody who would be fantastic to go after corruption. And this is what I mean by, doing things that will eliminate having to play by the rules that the deep state and Democrats have set up for us to play inside. This is a chance to get outside the box and crush that system entirely.
Yeah. Well, it's regardless of how disappointing this is, it's an exciting time. We can look forward to seeing where Matt Gaetz goes next. And then, of course, like I just mentioned, who Donald Trump will be the next person, who the next person is that he will appoint to this AG position. What if I saw JB said a little bit back, or it might have been TNT Cycles actually, Alex Jones for AG. Let's just rattle their cages. Yeah. Let's make Alex Jones. Let's make let's just float them all out there, and then they can continually back out. And then there at the end, near the actual vote, the confirmation vote, he can actually get his real person in there. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Who else?
Float all the names that are known, but then get someone in there who feels the same way but isn't known. Then it's like, yeah, we'll take him.
Demand the same reaction out of the left and freak out the rhinos at the same time.
Yeah,
that'd actually be pretty funny. Didn't Trump
feeling
calling, like watch him appoint Matt Walsh or something like that, and then just like, all right, now you know it's a troll. That'd be
funny though. Matt Walsh, Michael Malice, dude, Candace, take any kind of conservative pundit that people would have an issue with and forgive me, dump them in there.
Right. Do you know when they actually do the confirmation vote? Is it in January still, or is it?
As far as I
know, January 6th.
I think it's like after he actually has the transfer of power, so it would be afterwards in January, which is why this happening on such a quick cycle is kind of a bit of concern. you would think Matt Gaetz, even if it was a ploy, would have floated a bit longer and settled in before. And then now, if you do someone who might even be up to par with that, gives them a chance to run cover for why they shouldn't be. So we could be looking at possibly moving to like third or fourth or fifth picks by the time we actually get close to time being. Forgive me.
You're good. You're good. Unexpected broadcast. I've been talking all day too. I can already feel my voice kind of going out, so we probably won't go for too much longer. But I'm curious what you guys think in chat. Who would be funny people for Trump to appoint, just to basically troll these idiots up there that are gonna just freak out? You know what I mean? Like I said, Matt Walsh. You mentioned Candace Owens. Michael Malice would be funny to see. I actually really like Michael Malice. I think he could actually be a useful voice.
Yeah.
Trying to think who else would be funny. I don't know. Drawing a blank all of a sudden.
I mean, you could pick anyone.
Snowden.
Truly, honestly. Snowden would be funny too. He just runs everything from a Zoom call in Siberia. They're like, all right, introducing Snowden. They got to wheel out a big like projector because he can't come back into the country. That would be one that definitely would not get confirmed.
Elon could do it. He's already got a job in the Doge department, but he's good at multitasking. You're right about that. I mean, he runs Tesla and SpaceX and now the Doge department. So why not?
He became the number one Diablo 4 player the other day in like the rankings. So he's doing all of this and then just became the number one Diablo 4 player. He like
Elon
cleared
did?
some like he cleared like some dungeon in some record time. So now he holds the record for how fast someone made it through a certain level at like the high tiers. So yeah, this guy is a master at multitasking and getting things done.
That's hilarious. I'm right there with you guys there at TNT and Cora. We'll try to avoid that on screen, but
yeah. And to TNT's point, this is why I'm glad RFK it was put into the HHS.
Yeah.
Especially for someone whose daughter was born a few days ago. I've already had to turn down. I can't tell you how many times and say no, I'm not doing that today. We're going to look into it because it's hard to know which ones are incentivized through bonuses to actually get those kinds of things done.
Yeah.
I just want to see some investigations be put into these things, especially with no safety testing. It's just super unfortunate, right? It's just parents are scared. They get them in these vulnerable times, and then you end up getting doctors doing like, well, you wouldn't want to do this, would you? Like, you would not want to ever do this to your child. And it's such a scammy, predatory type business. That's why I really want RFK to get some stuff done.
Yeah, hopefully the sooner the better as far as that for helping you make that decision. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Just to ask you guys once again, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff.
Follow me for black pilling. I'm gonna buy a massive black pill, and anytime I'm about to give a take that's gonna be negative, I'm just gonna hold it. I'm just gonna hold massive black pill so you know what's coming.
So, and also I'm curious, I've been trying to come up with ideas so that we can do some like kind of games or rankings and stuff like that. If anybody's familiar with that show First Take, it's a sports channel. They with Nick Wright and a couple other people, and he does this thing called Mahomes Mountain, which he's a Chiefs fan, and I'm thinking about doing a MAGA mountain setup of the top ranked like MAGA dude at the time or gal, and it's kind of a work in progress, but we're gonna see what we can come up with the rankings and stuff. And I wanted to encourage people to come over to the Discord so that they can maybe contribute to those opinions and takes and stuff like that. He refers to the committee, Nick does on his show, and the committee makes the rules and the picks, and he's just the person that's delivering the information. It's fun, and so we want to let you guys know that when I'm thinking about implementing this MAGA mountain as my camera just continually shuts off.
Yeah, right.
I really wish it wouldn't do this, but as I said in the beginning, some of you guys might not have been here. It's this new thing with my computer. For some reason, I got to restart the computer before I stream, and we were scrambling to get the show up. Breaking story. emergency broadcast style, and I totally forgot about totally forgot about restarting the computer. And I see Serial commented here. The new AG is going to be Mike, the My Pillow guy. That would be hilarious.
No, it needs to be the Costco guy. The Costco guy who always does like the boom.
Oh yeah,
That would be hilarious.
JB said, or the Flex Seal guy.
He's a
That's
good
some
speaker.
stuff.
He'd be a good press sec.
JB also asked, any word on the Russia war? Yeah, what I did hear today was that this is a report out of Ukraine, which it's conflicted by a report from the United States, that Russia countered the long-range the long-range missiles that Biden approved for Ukraine to send into Russia by actually unleashing a ICBM, a intercontinental ballistic missile. So that could be him testing. If true, that could be him testing. He sent it into Ukraine, so wouldn't be a little overkill because those are supposed to be able to go like all the way around the world or halfway around the world or whatever. But these guys like to play with their new shiny toys, and maybe he's like, you know what, since they're sending long range, let's one up and send one of ours and just let them see a little show of power. And I'm not sure, other than the fact that it was floated, or the idea that it was floated out there by Ukrainian news, that Russia sent one. And I don't know of any of the destruction or anything like that. It's pretty much the headline that I read.
Yeah, when
Did
it
you hear
pertains
anything
to the
about that?
US, yeah, I actually watched a few videos, and some of them were just showing up, like payloads of what Donnie actually sent it to me on our Signal chat. A video that was showing a lot of what the actual payloads can do and how destructive they are. And so, as far as we understand, Russia has two of the top three most powerful um, nuclear warhead capabilities in terms of missiles. It's like the Satan 1 and the Satan 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought process too, I think that people need to actually kind of be a bit more concerned with is, if Russia moves to actually doing something towards the United States, it's not going to be some kind of, you know, what's the word? Kind of, messing around. If you come for the king, you swing to decapitate. And so if they were to actually do or commit some kind of strike, it's not going to be like, oh, San Fran was hit here, or oh, New York was hit here. They're going to hit like 35 cities at once and do everything they can to ensure that the US cannot retaliate.
Right.
Because you give us a chance to retaliate, it's over, right? It's like it becomes everything becomes threatening. And then you do risk the majority of the Earth's surface being uninhabitable. So there comes a certain level of these stakes, which is what's led to the fact that we've had so much, world peace as it is, which is just kind of revolted into small level conflicts. So if something does happen like that, understand it does jeopardize every ounce and way of life as we've come to understand it. But I saw you did flash that on screen there. I just wanted to show, this is the exhibit that was released of the payments regarding Matt Gaetz, going back to the original topic.
Okay, good.
Um,
I was like, oh crap, did I just show something I wasn't supposed to?
no, you're good.
I was
This is
like,
what I
was that
wanted to
like
put on
personal
screen.
stuff or what? So okay, good.
No,
I was
no.
gonna take the stream down almost.
No, you're good.
Like, oh
This
crap, was
is
that his bank statement?
no, you're fine. This is, and again, it's from Liam Neeson, right? I don't know if it's the real account or not, and who
Liam
cares?
Neeson's?
Yeah, I think it's just a fake one, like a parody account. But
Sure.
who cares about what the caption says? But this is what the actual screenshot that was been shared was, and these are the payments here, right? So don't worry about the PayPal ones, but it's these Venmo transactions here. Being my friend, being awesome here, reimbursement emojis, just because, flight extra for you. And this is what's being used as ammo and circumstantial evidence against Matt Gaetz. And I saw a funny quote tweet from Clint Russell that said, I've used Venmo my entire life, and almost every single time I paid a friend, I would say gay sex. He was like, I could never be attorney general. And so, it just points like there could be a lot more to this that we just don't know. And, it's pretty easy to weaponize a lot of this stuff to people when you can't see the full board, as Donnie
Right.
likes to say.
Well, it's curious, the PayPal ones in there, they don't have notes on them. So I mean, I don't know how those 6 or 5 PayPal payments would be. They're at the top there if it's small on your screen. I don't know how those would be, how it was determined that those would be like lumped in. with the Venmo payments. But that was a good point there. By you said Clint Russell that every time he Venmos
Yeah.
somebody, he puts that in
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I don't know. It seems like it's quite the reach, and we know from Trump's first 4 years that everybody around him, they didn't get the microscope, they got the telescope shoved up their ass, and they were, Trump's enemies, whatever, were basically looking for any and everything from their connection to Trump to just anything that they did bad so that they could throw that person in jail and then say Trump appointed this bad person, right? And
Yeah.
so once again, Matt Gaetz, who has already been vetted, he's already in the House. I guess they just stepped it up and went from a microscope to a telescope, like I said, because this seems like it's quite the reach. But unfortunately, it's enough to convince the sheep. And
Right.
that's probably the biggest problem, saying that his name is clean and clear or whatever. It's enough to convince the sheep because, as we mentioned before, you're not innocent till proven guilty anymore in this country, especially when it comes to this like Me Too type of stuff or whatever. That if this is, yeah,
Yeah, it's like the people who are incapable of second and third level thinking. When this person sees Trump convicted of felony, like their mind can physically not have the capacity to process that the judge may be corrupt or these charges may be faulty. They
right.
see court said this, and that's gospel, right? It's
It's
like that could not ever be infallible. There could be no other reason unless there was actual evidence. And so these kind of second and third level thoughts generally escape a lot of the crowd that we unfortunately have to fight against.
yeah, exactly. It's that orange man bad mentality just takes over. So, what do you think? Should we wrap it up on that? We
Yeah,
have
I think we
anything else
covered
in
what we
here?
know right now. I've
Yeah, I
actually
think
been
so
trying to
too.
check as we've been going on to see if anything new has been broken. But
Okay.
really just a lot of different reactions. Seems like there's a good split. Some people are happy, even on the right, that this has been happening. Some people are just really disappointed because they were excited about Matt Gaetz, Luke Rudkowski being one of them.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure we'll know more by the end of the day as more discussions are had. And obviously, by the next week, I'd imagine we'd have a lot more, or at least have a bit more of a finalized idea and image of what happened.
Right. And today's Thursday, so we have a couple days for information to come out, and we'll be back live on Saturday at 6 p.m. with the normal scheduled, the normal schedule, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Unless something else crazy happens and breaks, and we're both able to get on at the same time and give the update, because I had a lot of fun doing this. It was completely unplanned. And I'm glad so many people were able to show up, even a lot of the new faces that we saw in chat here and stuff like that. That's really cool. I hope you guys consider, following us on X. I'm at Worrell. You are _Atlas_thugged. Did I get that right?
It's at Atlas_thugged_.
Oh, okay.
Close.
I said it wrong. I was trying to remember from the other day.
No,
And then,
you're
of
good.
course,
I appreciate it.
check out our YouTube channels. Mine is America First TV, and then yours is just Atlas Thugged without the
Yep.
underscores, right? And then
Yes, sir.
and all that good stuff. Like I said, consider joining the Discord as well. The link is in the description for this video. So would love to see you guys over there. And I think that's pretty much it. Did you have anything else to add?
No, that was it. I gotta get better about putting the Discord in my description. I think I've not done that the last 3 videos. So if you can't find it on mine,
yeah.
it's not there. It's on World. So just find him at America First TV.
Yeah, definitely do that. And then make sure when you do that to get the link that's actually doesn't expire in 7 days. They like to give that one out as default whenever you get the link. So you have to change the little setting, and hopefully mine's still working. But
Yeah. If not, just leave a comment. We'll find it and we'll give it to you.
check that later. Yep, exactly. So anyways, appreciate everybody for being here. Hope the rest of your week goes well, and look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday.
Take care, everybody.
Christ is King.
Christ is King.
Let's roll, rolling Atlas Thug. We here to bring the truth. Jar open this podcast. We breaking through the fake news. They try to silence us, but we will be subdued. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with the bass Christian takes. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up. We won't be swayed. Jar open this podcast where the truth is laid. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Thug. We're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Pulling out the corruption with no inhibition. Jar open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall in a world full of deceit. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street. Keeping it real, never missing a beat. Jar open this podcast where the truth meets the heat. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Thug, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. Jar open this podcast where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling Atlas Thug, fearless in our release. Jar open this podcast where the lies will decrease.